Hey everybody, it's John here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today in the Trails and Tales update for Minecraft, going for the Planting the Past achievement. This is to plant any Sniffer seed. So before we get started, we're going to have to get a Sniffer. This is going to require that we get this item called a brush. So a brush is going to be made of three things. You're going to need a stick, which you obviously are going to make out of wood. Grab some wood, break that down into planks, break that down into some sticks, and then you should be good for that. Very basic material. After that, we are also going to need a feather, so make sure you try to look for your nearby chickens, and then try to kill one, and then hopefully they drop a feather. That's probably the easiest way of getting a feather. And then once you have one, we are also going to need some copper. So make sure you hit up your local ravine, and then make sure you do a little bit of spelunking, and then you should be able to find copper relatively close to the surface. It's going to be the reddish-brown looking ore. Just make sure you mine it, and then of course, just like most ores, you are going to have to bring it back to a furnace to smelt it. Copper is going to be pretty abundant, however, you only need one, so once you do find a vein, feel free to take as many as you want, but once you have your copper in hand, it's time to head back to the furnace, pop it in with some fuel, and then make sure you let that smelt, and then once you have at least one ingot, make sure you pull that out of the oven, and then we're going to combine these with our stick and our feather to get a brush. So it's going to be over to a crafting table, as we're going to need the full 3x3 square in order to make this. To make a brush, you are going to want to take your three ingredients. You're going to start out with the copper in the middle, then the stick at the bottom, and then finally the feather at the top. Once you have that, you should be able to get a brush, and then you should be able to take advantage of the update's major mechanic in the form of archaeology. So, brush in hand, I'm going to recommend that you also grab a boat and several potions of night vision. You're going to want to sail the seas, and then you're going to be on the lookout for a warm ocean biome. I'm going to recommend you use the potion of night vision to keep an eye out for the regular warm ocean, as you are able to tell them from far away based on the amount of coral. And the reason we are looking for warm oceans is because sniffer eggs can only be found in warm ocean ruins. So once you arrive at your local warm ocean, you're going to want to keep an eye out for the ruins. They're going to be designated by the cut sandstone blocks. So try to keep an eye out for them on the surface using your potion of night vision. Once you spot one, make sure you swim on down. If it is going to be a pretty deep dive, I am also going to recommend a potion of water breathing. You're going to want to look around the sand blocks and then look for the oddly colored ones, which are going to be the suspicious sand blocks. Use your brush and then left trigger them, and then hopefully the randomness is going to give you a sniffer egg. They're going to look a little something like this. You should have about a 6% chance of pulling one from a suspicious block. So make sure you do keep that in mind. If you don't happen to find one in your first go around, just make sure you look for your next warm ocean ruin and then try again. And then hopefully you should be able to pull one out. Once we have one, we're going to need to take it back home in order to hatch it. To hatch it, all you have to do is just make sure you place it out, preferably somewhere out in the open. It should take about 20 minutes or so for a sniffer egg to hatch, so make sure you are very patient with this one. You could speed things up significantly if you place it on a moss block, which you can grab from a lush cave, or you could bring the sniffer egg to the lush cave. However, you are going to need to get the sniffer back to the surface, so I'm going to recommend that you bring the moss block with you if you do plan on going that route. But nonetheless, with enough patience, the sniffer should finally hatch, and then once you have it, you are also going to need to wait for it to grow up, unfortunately. So it's going to be about another 8 to 10 minute wait or so make sure, again, you be very patient with this one. Let the sniffer grow up until it's an adult, and then once you have the sniffer at adult size, you're going to have to wait again for it to sniff something, which is going to take about another 8 to 10 minutes. You are going to need to have it be on a surface block, so anything like grass, dirt, or mud, for example, and it could be any type of those three. Just make sure you wait around, and then after enough time elapses, it should start sniffing. The process is going to start by it putting its nose on the ground, and then it should start sniffing around. Once it finds something, it's going to lie down on all 6 of its legs and then begin the animation. And what's going to happen is it's going to pull one of 2 items out of the ground. It can either pull out torchlight seeds or a pitcher pod. You have a 50-50 chance of getting one or the other. Either will count for the achievement, so it's not going to matter which one you grab. Just make sure you grab whatever, and then once you have it, it's time to begin the next part of the achievement, which is to plant one of these. So just make sure you follow it. Hopefully it doesn't do anything stupid like walk off a cliff or anything. But once you do get that animation to pop up, just make sure you grab its drop and then take it with you to start the planting process. So grab your seeds and then it's time to plant it. The process is going to be the same regardless of the seed type. So you are going to need a hoe, as we're going to need to till some farmland. You can use any type, so feel free to just grab a wooden block, convert that into planks, convert some of the planks into sticks, and then combine the sticks and the planks to get a wooden hoe, as we are going to only need to use it once. Make sure you use your hoe, left trigger to till some farmland, and then pop your seeds down. You do not have to wait for the plant to grow up all the way, you just have to put the seeds in to start the planting process, and then once you do so, you should be good for this achievement. There it is, it's going to be for 10 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.